We'll call the December 16th, 2021 Area Planning Commission meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Mr. Mackey, will you lead us in the pledge?
Do you know how to do it?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No, it's just, you put Bill on the spot. It's stage right.
Our secretary is not here.
I think between the two of us,
I'll do roll call. Daryl Drew.
Here.
Brian Robb.
Here.
Bill Mackey.
Here.
Bob Stewart.
Here.
Gary Naylor. Here. Brian Durham. Here. Leota King. Not here. Dale Munson. Not here. And Darren Price. Also not here.
school-related function.
All right. With Bev not here, we don't have minutes to approve. The next item on our agenda is a public hearing to delete and replace section 153.37 sign fee schedule, section 153.44 filing fees and form, chapter 152 area subdivision control code, section 152.05B fee required, and to replace the entirety of the building code ordinance 3138 of the city of Connersville, building code ordinance 93-5 for Fayette County. I will open the public hearing for that. Is there anybody here that wishes to speak about the removal of the filing fee?
So everybody's seen what's been removed. I know we discussed it for a little while. And it was approved by the actual county fee schedule, which is to set these aside. And one of the big reasons is the fees have not been changed since 1993. Needless to say, they really haven't kept up with inflation. And so basically what happens is that with the fees not being changed and adjusted, is that basically people's permits and inspections are being subsidized by the rest of the taxpayers. Okay, and I'll explain one thing. So what we need to do with those first three right there, those are the ones that are the delete and replace. Now the building code ordinances, those it'll be recommending to adopt the model building code ordinance from the state of Indiana. And I gave you the one that I've already filled in some of the information. You also saw my comments and concerns to Mr. Westling, some legal concerns. The big one really has to do about the appeals process. Who hears it for the city, who hears it for the county? Because under the Indiana planning law is that the Area Plan Commission itself does not have direct authority over the building codes. The only reason my office does this is because those agreements and written into the ordinances that adopt the state building codes is those were, because that was adopted into that ordinance, the agreement for the Area Plan Commission to be responsible for administering and enforcing the zoning codes. So there's part of that so there's language in there that would then identify the Area Plan Commission for the zoning codes to enforce. Now, the process that has to happen with the building codes is that what we need to do is, we have these legal questions to answer. Now, the state of Indiana, it's like with the floodplain, the state of Indiana, the Fire and Building Commission, they actually, before the city and the county, hold their public hearings for adopting the most recent building code ordinances, is that the state of Indiana must approve them first. It's just like those of you who've gone through with the floodplain ordinance. So once that's ready, we can still forward those to that. This is what we need to do. The city, the county commissioners, and then also the city council. but with the understanding that we'll not be able to hold the public hearing until we get a response back and it's approved by the state of Indiana. Then they can hold the public hearing.
Question, Bill.
Yeah, sure.
When you're talking building code, you're not just talking about building houses, you're talking about plumbing, electrical, the whole.
All of them, yeah, because what it does is it adopts every single building code that the state of Indiana adopts by reference. So when the state of Indiana adopts a new model code, or they update it, or they make the Indiana amendments to the building code, is that it's automatically
We're
adopted.
gonna go with what the state tells us.
We're legally required to go with what the state has,
Well, I
yes.
know 30 years ago when I had to replace a 3-inch vent, I couldn't find a 3-inch coupling because they didn't use 3-inch vents in Fayette County. I'm sorry, but that's building code.
Yeah, so as long as something meets the building code, it's part of the building code. So all various things is, some of you who've been in my office, you've seen my 3 feet of building codes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
So
the
we're gonna go with
resident.
what the state says, that's what's gonna be the building code
Yeah.
for Fayette County, okay?
Yeah,
That's what I wanna
yeah,
know.
because as I said, what this is just a building code ordinance.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
part of the problem that we had is that our fees were included in the ordinance, and when.
That was
the
one of
state-
many.
Yeah, the state won't approve a code that has fees in it. So
Okay.
that's why we moved to remove those fees from the code, or we're
Yeah,
in the process tonight of removing those fees and then recommending the adoption of the standard ordinance from the state.
yes.
Okay, but now,
To have them all in one place.
where we come to the fee part, the state don't set that, that's each county sets its own fee,
Exactly.
correct?
Correct.
Yeah, which is why we went through and they're supposed to reflect the actual cost of the individual county.
So we're gonna have to address that separately.
It's already been addressed by the
It's
county
already been
commissioners.
addressed.
Yeah, the commissioners have already adopted that.
And that will be
So
an
the decision was
appendix
not to have the public hearing for this, to remove those until the, for the fees, until it was adopted by the county commissioners.
Okay.
Because we'd have went, a month with no fees for
Yeah,
building permits.
yeah, especially considering last month there was a $3.1 million project.
I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The public hearing is closed.
Okay, now, what I would suggest is that as far as make both actions separate, the actual code replacements that we have authority over, which are the zoning code and the subdivision ordinance, is to do those as far as the ordinance goes. And to then that, of course, will be forwarded to the city council and the county commissioners. And then make a recommendation to the city council and then also the Fayette County Board of Commissioners to go through the process of adopting the Indiana model building code ordinance.
So I would entertain a motion to delete and replace those sections listed in the, on our agenda.
Mr. President, I move that we delete sections 153.37, section 153.44, and chapter 152 of our current ordinance and replace them with the Building Code Ordinance 3138 of the City of Connersville, the Building Code Ordinance 93-5 of the Fayette County.
Actually, that would be, we would be replacing it with a fee schedule approved by the commissioners, not, that's a separate.
Oh, that's separate?
Yeah, the building codes, we'll take the action first on the actual first three.
Right.
Because those are the actual code ordinances
Yeah.
that the Area Plan Commission has direct
So we'll
legislative
be
authority over.
replacing those three
Yeah, exactly.
the-
with the fee schedule that
That's
was
a-
created
Yeah.
by the commissioners.
Correct.
Yep.
It'll be an appendix to the.
I stand corrected.
Yep.
On my motion. I apologize.
Do we have a
That's quite
second?
all right.
Carol? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Now, our next would be to recommend both the City of Connersville and the Fayette County Commissioners adopt
Indiana's model building code ordinance.
Which would be these two ordinances.
Yeah, the one that you,
To
the one you
replace
see
them.
right there, right there.
We're asking for.
Yeah, this is the one that will be forwarded to the city and then the county.
Now, previously, every year in January, we take it upon ourselves to adopt a state's building. At least the last 4 years that I've been on area planning, we adopt the state building code in January. But this is
Okay,
replacing the need.
the need for that.
yeah.
Mr. President, I move that we send a favorable recommendation to both the City of Connersville City Council and the Fayette County Commissioners to adopt the building code ordinances. The city ordinance would read 3138
Well,
and,
it's replacing 31.
Replacing.
or replacing
And
that.
then 93.5 for the
And
commissioners.
93.5.
Yeah,
Right. I
not to
have,
interrupt, but this is kind of muddy, so.
yeah, I have a
it's not
favorable
easy to
recommendation. Do I
understand.
have a second on that?
You seconded?
Brian, a motion and a second to replace Building Code Ordinance 3138 of the City of Connersville, Building Code Ordinance 93-5 of Fayette County. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passes with a favorable recommendation. And that's something that I think we set that as a goal 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, yeah, COVID set a lot
Yeah,
of
and
things
we're
back.
finally able to get all that taken care of.
Check another one off the box.
Yeah, it's taking a lot longer to do some of these things. But okay, we do have one thing to insert when the discussion about the projects. The update on the confined feeding, that was the recommendation from the Area Plan Commission to the City Council and then also the County Commissioners, is that the County Council, the City Council, they voted no, they rejected. There's no amendments or any rejection. So I just want to ask them to forward, as required under the Indiana Code, an explanation for the reasons for the rejection of the amendment. And we have not received those yet from the City of Connersville, but I want to go ahead and read the appropriate parts out of the Indiana Code. Okay, once it's initiated and forwarded, the legislative body shall vote on the proposal within 90 days. They did, after the Plan Commission certifies the proposal. Okay, now so now we get down to the part with the City Council. If the legislative body rejects or amends the proposal, it shall be returned to the Plan Commission for its consideration with a written statement of the reasons for the rejection or amendment. The Plan Commission has 45 days in which to consider the rejection or amendment and report to the legislative body as follows. A, if the commission approves the amendment or fails to act within a 45-day period, the ordinance stands as passed by the legislative body, as approval with the legislative body by the end of the 45-day period. B, this is the one we're really at. If the commission disapproves the rejection or amendment, the action of the legislative body on the original rejection or amendment stands only if confirmed by another vote of the legislative body within 45 days, after the commission certifies its disapproval. If the legislative body fails to confirm its action under this clause, the ordinance takes effect in a manner as far as subdivision 3. So which is so it will take effect then as recommended by the Area Plan Commission. Now, with Mr. Westling not feeling well 2 weeks ago, is suggested that the county commissioners would wait until, it's going to be Tuesday, to act on what was recommended by the Area Plan Commission. Now, my recommendation to the commissioners was to, in light of the cooperation between city government and county government members, and also with the mayor, is that then the efforts on time of the Reconciliation Committee, that the county commissioners adopt as recommended. Because essentially what was done with the exception of one item and then also Mr. Naylor's inclusion is that with the exception of the distance from public use areas, is that it was almost the same thing that the city council adopted on September 7th. So there's very little difference except for a couple of lines that the city council already has in place. So,
I'd say a half mile is not just a small difference.
well, all I'm saying is that that difference was made. The county, for all practical purposes, with the exception of that, is the county council rejected close to with the exception of that, what was approved back in September. So that's where that stands is then once we get still waiting for the comments. So the Indiana code doesn't, so I'm really not sure quite how to respond this time because it's kind of this really doesn't deal directly with because we haven't received anything from the city council and within these last 2 weeks, but we still required to have that under Indiana codes because so the Area Plan Commission cannot act and vote on the rejection by the city council. So it's in limbo on the part of the city council.
And the commissioners will have it at their
They will-
December 21st?
On Tuesday, they will,
At the 21st?
they will act one way or another.
I don't know. What's
On
the
the
date of that?
21st.
Is that the 21st?
Yep. Yep. Okay, now, following that, is that we really haven't had any progress on the solar energy siting rules. And one of that is the CFO rules. So we haven't made any progress. And I know we have people here are concerned over things with the, with the chickens.
But I
So-
really want to talk about the solar energy real quick.
Okay.
I think the state's model ordinance with, a few additions,
It's good.
it's, a lot of it much like the sample ordinance of the building codes, we can do a lot with the model
Yeah.
ordinance.
Yeah.
It's just, inserting Fayette County, City of Connersville
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
a lot of that.
Yeah.
I think the real problems get into the decommissioning requirements, which the state doesn't really touch too much on the decommissioning of.
Yeah, but that is something though that the one in Marshall County does have.
Yeah.
So the Marshall County by a lot of the planners in the state of Indiana, it's considered probably the best one. Now, there's other things that could be changed. I'm looking at,
Because they
trying
have
to do,
bonding.
yeah, trying to
They
do,
require bonding for,
yeah, exactly, the bonding requirements, then the resetting of the bonding, the required amount for the bonding. The other things that go with that is that there's the backup electrical systems, basically the backup or the battery storage systems. Now, haven't found the language to how to insert something if they're part of the actual, somewhere down the road with the proposal, then be part of the actual project area, not requiring to go back through everything. Okay, now another one that I had, someone came into the office and Dale's not here, but what we had was, okay, so, and I was having a phone call to ask about, okay, well, what if someone has a project that's outside of Fayette County, but they need to gain access to the utility lines in Fayette County, then also to build a new substation? Right now, there's already special exception provisions for those. But it's something really going to need to also give a little bit more consideration to with those. Okay, and Bill, you were in there when with those two gentlemen last 2 weeks ago about they came into the office to talk to me about the solar energy.
I wasn't there.
Okay, you weren't there. Okay.
I wasn't.
Yeah. Okay, but that's where we stand with those. Now, now,
So how soon do we want to try to get that, some language in Fayette County?
okay.
I think our original timeline was February, right?
Yes, they want to shoot for February to have have language ready for a public hearing. So if we still need to tweak it, we'll still need to tweak it.
On what bill specifically?
Solar energy ordinance.
Solar energy, okay.
Yep, for the solar energy, yep. So so with that, now then I know we have some visitors who are concerned or interested in the idea about the chickens. Now, as I spoke with people about speak to people out on the camera, is that there's a very specific process in the Indiana code. Is that this was initiated because of problems with ambiguity and enforcement of how to deal with some of the complaints that he has received over people over chickens. Some people want to have no controls over the chickens. Other people would like to say no, absolutely no to any chickens in the city. This ordinance is to try to find a way to allow the chickens without it being to minimize the risk of actually being a potential nuisance. So I gave some people copies of this. So if anybody else wants a copy of it, I can get them to you. My email address is on the Fayette County website. Ask me for copies, I can get you the copies of this. Anybody has concerns, questions, or substance that can help the Area Plan Commission out, please send them. And as we have a couple right there, they have promotional support is was it a potbelly pig?
He was considered a micro mini.
Yeah. Is he still mini?
No.
Yeah. But, yeah, so there's some type of provisions for things like that. So we're trying to do this with the absolute minimum of the minimum. There's jurisdictions in Indiana where, I mean, it's absurd with what some places do. A lot of places run them through with the chickens through their health departments, their health ordinances. So we just want to make it clear that, okay, these are the conditions under which chickens are actually allowed in the city of Connersville and residential areas outside in the county. So like I said, as any of you have, as I requested previously, is that if you have anything that can help us out, please. I know there's also concerns with 4-H, and so I'd like to ask if anybody's involved with the 4-H with the poultry, is that maybe check with some of the other 4-H's with have the poultry programs. Is how are they dealing with this in other jurisdictions that have rules on chickens, and they carve out a exception or something for the 4-H. I mean, these are the things we really want to look for. These are the things we'd really like to have. And these things will help me. It'll help the Area Plan Commission, and ultimately it'll help the city council and then the county commissioners. Because
Mr. Naylor and I were talking before the meeting about trying to understand the problem. I'll admit I haven't talked to Dave Rickman to understand his perspective of
okay.
where the ambiguity lies between the city existing ordinance and what his responsibilities are.
Yeah. So, because one of the things you also have, there's a city ordinance, you also have Mr. Rickman, who's also a county employee.
Right.
So, the whole thing is just to have a clear rule that states these are the conditions, this is the situation where they're permitted.
Well,
and it isn't meant there to say, no, you can't have them. This is to find a way that find some place between two extremes on it. That's all this really is.
Well, in addition, there is a city code enforcer now. So if there's a city ordinance and the code enforcer is responsible for it,
Well,
and that's to do with animal.
and also within the city code enforcement, they have trouble with ambiguity also.
Right, which
So,
is
yeah.
Mr. Naylor's suggestion was to form a subcommittee to talk to both the ordinance enforcer and the animal shelter to find out where the problems are.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr.
Brian,
Jim.
I mean, this may be off base, I don't know, but honestly, don't you ever get one come in and say, my neighbor's got 26 cats?
No, I don't. That's city code.
Yeah, we have found that to be true. I mean, if we're
Right,
gonna
there was
start
a
with
lady
chickens,
last
we're
year
gonna
on-
end up,
yeah.
I mean, you've got cats and
Yeah,
dogs.
but,
and everything.
okay.
Some
Yeah,
Is that off base?
Okay.
I'm just asking,
No,
okay?
dogs and cats are treated differently in the animals because those are actually considered domestic.
eat 'em.
Domestic animals. These are not domestic animals, which those things are frequently
Yeah.
held as pets.
But we do know they're a problem. I mean, it's in the paper that they're running all over the
Yeah,
place.
so that's a different problem that has to be dealt with separately. This one is just trying to deal with, to make things, because you want things easier for your public employees, don't you? That's what this is about. It's because Mr. Rickman and people who've been up there running with the animal shelters, I mean, they get a lot of things that go through. And so it's just, really another way to look at it is, you clear things up with the chickens, it might allow Mr. Rickman to have the opportunity to deal with the dogs and the cats.
Well, gee, we can start someplace, but I haven't seen chickens running loose myself, but that's okay.
Which is why.
Well, Mr. Rickman's had people in the neighborhood say there is. He wants to be able to tell people, for example, if this allows it, well, someone has chickens. So he can tell someone on the phone that, no, they are allowed to have chickens.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Rickman is not trying to have rules that allows him to get rid of chickens. Okay, he supports the idea of having these city chickens, but he needs some kind of rules that are gonna tell him what rules he has to go by. That's all this is.
Which is why I think forming a subcommittee to study over the next month or so to talk with both code enforcement and the animal shelter to find out where, from their perspective, because I'm sure they take calls at the animal shelter that others don't get. I know Ryan has told me that he doesn't remember anybody calling him specifically about chickens, and same with Diana, but that doesn't mean that Dave's not taking phone calls, and at what frequency is he taking
Because, well, the
phone
other
calls?
one is that, how many times when someone has a problem dog next door, they're actually calling, their city council member,
Right,
county
yeah, they're
commissioner
calling
member.
them.
Yeah, they call animal control.
Right.
Or they call the police, the fire.
Well, if I get a chicken in my backyard, he's dinner. No problem.
Which is why I would ask.
Yeah, well, that's why you gotta keep them on your property.
Right. For this particular subcommittee, I would ask that myself, our vice president, Gary Naylor, Mr. Rob, and Dale Munson, even though he's not here tonight, as a county commissioner, sit on this subcommittee.
And with city code enforcement and then Dave,
Yes.
okay. All right, well, can be done. And in the meantime, once again, as I ask people, and, I gave those copies, people need copies, please. I don't have any problem with getting people copies of things, because, once it's on my desk and my computer and it leaves and I send it out, it's public record. So I don't play a game of hiding things from people. But, yes, sir, Mr. Wolf. Would you like to be involved with this? No, you don't really need to right now.
The thing on the subcommittee, you need to get some people that's involved with this, with the poultry, to be on that too with you, so they can put their input.
Well, I know Mr. Schaefer had some good comments earlier.
I'd be more than happy to be on the chicken committee.
Okay, that's good.
I'll-
Is there anybody else here would like to?
I'm a 4-H director.
Okay, great. That would be fantastic.
We'll work on the cats
I own
next.
chickens myself, so
I just eat
You
them.
don't want me to elaborate on that.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. I appreciate that. I do, I really do.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, the chicken committee that you're setting up, does that include the hoofed animals? I mean,
Well,
is that-
that's one. Would you like to take part? Okay, your name again?
Kathy Bloom?
Kathy Bloom. Oh, yeah, up on 12th Street. Yeah. You guys have really done wonders with that house. It looks really
And we've
good.
done that all with the pig in our home.
That's good. That's good.
And he does go
Yeah.
outside.
Now, eventually, maybe, yeah, because I know at one time you talked about wrapping the porch all the way around.
Yeah.
He's got two handicap ramps, one front door and one to back.
Okay.
But here's what I think people fail to realize. And just like she said, it's in her home.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the other one that we need to take into consideration is how it is in the house.
Right.
Because the actual one with the hoofed animals is people raising a large livestock in the city limits. So that's, and what you have is, obviously, it's a completely different story.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, we want to take these things, we need to take these things into consideration. Okay, and, well then, after we close the plan commission meeting, could all of you give me then your contact information so I can get a phone number and address and all? Would you like to be involved too, Mr. Wolf?
Sure.
Okay,
Speaking of large animals, the city code considers cattle to be domestic, horses to be domestic, pigs to be domestic, sheep, goats, rabbits,
yeah.
according to the city code, are all
Yeah.
considered domestic
Yeah,
animals.
yes, but it isn't in the zoning code.
Right, which is
Yes,
two separate
yeah, two separate critters. Yeah, okay.
conflict with each other.
Okay, so if all, yeah, after the meeting, then if you could give me your information so we can start moving. I don't think you want to meet before New Year's Day.
May I ask a question, Bill?
Yeah, sure.
What, okay, it's for residential property in the city and unincorporated parts of Fayette County. That covers about everything,
No,
doesn't it?
well, no, what it really does in the unincorporated areas are the residential properties, which are really the things like subdivisions.
It's covering subdivisions and Everton and
Yeah,
everything's part incorporated, but it's
basically any place that's
unincorporated.
unincorporated parts of the county is that have residential areas.
I gotta get rid of my raccoon.
Well, if you want to raise a raccoon, Bob, you're perfectly,
No, I
go right
don't. I
ahead.
don't.
Oh, I get you plenty of
Right
those.
Right. Okay, so
Smalley's got a lot of them.
we'll set a time to meet on that. Our other number 4 on,
Yeah, and the other one with everybody, then if the, what sort of days of the week times work best for all of you, that'll also be helpful, so we can try to,
you can start an email chain, we can.
yep.
Okay, so appointments, expiring, my term expires December 31, 2021.
You still want to be on it? Write your letter to Chad.
I already have.
Okay. And then with the
And
BZA,
then,
His doesn't expire until, yeah, this year.
yeah, yeah.
and then we have, our representative to the BZA, Darren Price, who is an annual appointment. And,
And then Jeff Fisher,
Jeff Fisher as
commissioners, yep.
for BZA,
And we have the annual appointments.
Bill
We're-
Mackey as
we're-
the county surveyor or extension educator. And then Daryl Drew from the school
Corporation.
corporation are both annual.
Those are it.
When's mine?
Huh?
When's mine?
Oh, you were just appointed, so I think yours ends 2024, doesn't it?
It
Gary's
says
is.
2020.
Oh, yeah, so it would be from
Oh.
last year through 20.
Oh, yeah, I didn't change the end date on that, yeah, I just,
That's what I thought.
yeah, because, oh, yeah, the risk is when you're copy and pasting, well, you use an old one as your template. I thought I had yours corrected, but I haven't told didn't have you on the list for the letters. So I'll correct that then. Thank you for that, Gary. I thought I caught that. Okay,
Okay, so moving on to the director's report.
okay, we have that. Okay, is there anything additional?
Not looking into anything
Okay.
super crazy that's
Oh, yeah.
new or different.
The only other thing associated with the director's report is in the pile was the schedule for, meeting schedule for, you can vote to approve it right now. The APC and the BZA meetings for 2022. Okay, they're all good. Now, this year, it's only November and December, once again, are going to be the only meetings the third week of the month due to Thanksgiving and then Christmas holidays. Otherwise, the rest of them are all the fourth Thursday of the month. Those are the only ones.
My only correction is the 2022, not 2020. I don't want to go back to 2020. I want to move forward to 2022.
Okay,
It says 2020
where?
on all the dates.
Oh, okay.
It says 2022 at the top though. but
Yeah.
So with that
Are those the
correction, yeah.
Yeah,
Are those the?
yeah, I did have those.
the
I do have the actual date, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
okay.
Just the year wasn't changed, so Motion by Daryl. Do I have a second?
Second.
Gary. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passes.
Okay, so what I will do then is I will correct that error. And when I have those corrected, I'll review it to make sure there isn't any other typos. I will then forward those to the press and then Channel 3.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the director's report. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Gary. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passes. Our last item on the agenda, adjournment. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Okay.